So what up 2K fans, your boy Shake, and it's time for some more NBA 2K20 news. Now because the game is released, news is coming sporadically. It's not all trailers and patches on a day-to-day basis, so expect to see 1 or 2 news videos per week as the news comes in. Now we've got a lot to cover, especially what took place last week, so let's not waste any more time and dive in. Last Friday we had Court Conqueror, and quite a few people were making some complaints with some valid points. A good example would be statistics. He put a tweet out breaking down the rewards and the VC and the rep that you earn for Court Conqueror in NBA 2K19 versus what you earn in 2K20. In 2K19, 3v3, 2 times rep and VC, you had good rep, 2 to 3 hours to beat all 6 teams, 25k VC, a jersey, and an icon. In 2K20, it's changed to 2v2, losers out, 2 times the rep, trash rep he says, 3 to 4 hours to beat all 6 teams, 5k VC, and jersey as a reward. And he says they came with long wait times. Because of the change in the gameplay mechanics, the 2v2 seems a lot easier in my opinion. Me and my teammate were able to beat all the teams relatively quickly without using any kind of cheese exploits. However, he makes a really good point about the VC and the amount of rep you received. And of course, the prize at the end, 25k VC, a jersey, and an icon is something that I thought we were going to receive for 2K20. So I really hope 2K looks at this and decides to make a better change for the future. 5 days ago, 2K tweeted, "There's been a small patch update as we continue our efforts to improve 2K20. It says they fixed the game hanging when attempting to leave the neighborhood via exiting the main menu, playing your next NBA game, etc. after previously viewing the animation store." So 2K calls it a hang whenever the game stalls and it feels like you're stuck at a menu or a specific screen for way too long. I have 2 losses on my rec record in which I've never lost. In one case, 3 of my teammates lagged out to the main menu in the middle of a game and we lost that game. And in another case, we were stuck in a lobby for nearly 10 minutes while we all backed out to get our teammate together, and that cost us another loss. And it obviously dropped the rep for our highest overall players. One of the biggest sources of controversy has been patching jump shots and fixing missed layups. Mike Wang tweeted, "This morning's update includes fix or fewer missed open layups, a buff to Unpluckable badge, and a nerf to brick wall knockdowns." I don't know if I agree or disagree with these changes because a lot of these complaints are coming from casual players. 2K definitely wants to cater to those casual players, those guys that complain so much over Twitter, to make the game an easy playing field for everyone. I do agree that there are some suspect missed layups from time to time. And obviously I don't want to see a 7-footer that looks like he's 300 pounds ripping point guards. And a nerf to brick wall makes sense if people are exploiting that tactic on offense. But if this is happening few and far between, or to people that don't have the right badges or the right archetype, or it's predominantly happening in specific modes like 2v2, why should the entire community suffer from these nerfs and buffs? Maybe it's because I have a 2-way and I just don't see brick wall knocking me to the ground too often. So I agree and slightly disagree with this fix. Now for some questions from the community. Shahid, he says, "Mike, what is up with the defending in the paint? Right stick up is causing flagrant fouls." And Mike says, "We're working on it. It should be addressed in the next patch." This is absolutely a glitch in the game. I run with a rim protector who I've seen get at least 1 or 2 flagrant fouls a game in the rec center by simply putting his hands up. So that absolutely has to be fixed because we're all afraid that one of these games he's just going to get thrown out of the game for too many flagrant fouls. A question from Dimes. He says, "Is there any chance we can get a fix to what happens to the rec when the other team quits? If you're over 95 rating, it drops your rating when the other team quits. That's not right." And we get a response from Chris Manning, who then says, "I brought this up to the team. They're looking at it." This is huge. It almost discourages people from wanting to play the rec at all. The whole losing rep system in general is a big gray area for most of us gamers. There isn't enough clarity on what constitutes as a good game. People have been complaining since they were fake 99s with all their badges unlocked. They were so happy to be a 99, played a legit game, and still lost rep. Now those guys deserve it, but the legit players don't. My good friend Fresh on PlayStation 4 pointed out that as a shooting guard, if he gets frozen out of a game in the rec center and just doesn't score much, but relatively has a good game, he's gonna lose rep. I'm glad this is being looked into. Can't wait for them to address it. Spammer Accounter says, Mike, can you please stop nerfing jump shots? I hate having to relearn a whole jump shot. It makes the game inconsistent. And Mike responds, we don't nerf jump shots. Now this makes me wonder if Mike is using semantics, like a play on words. So he might be like, yeah, we don't nerf jump shots, but we do nerf releases. I make that joke because I've experienced that myself over the years. At times you feel like your jump shot is money, and then sometimes even after using the same jump shot for months, it feels like you can't hit anything. So this in from Mike Wang yesterday, trying to provide some clarity on how you lose rep from 95 to 99 overall. He says your 95 to 99 overall rating is driven by win-loss and individual performance, not teammate grade. The closest I can compare it to is takeover. If your takeover bar is moving up steadily, you'll get a good performance score. Win or loss has more weight in Park and Pro-Am. Individual performance has more weight in my career. The problem with this statement is that he doesn't necessarily mention the rec. And a lot of guys play the rec because it gets you a lot of rep. But if you're frozen out of a game, you played pretty good, but you just didn't get a lot of shots because one of your teammates was, dominating a weak link on the opposite team, that means your performance wasn't very high and you might lose some rep. It almost pays to just be a center or point guard or specific archetypes that get a lot of rep for just supporting the rest of the team. Mike says losing performance points in Pro-Am to quitters is known and will be patched. This is the whole problem with an untested rep performance meter that none of us can see. The whole idea of losing rep to me seems like it would only make sense if you actually had a bad game or a series of bad games. And I'm guessing this applies to the rec even though he said Pro-Am, because they're completely separated now. But at the very least, this should have all been tested first. I had a long conversation with one of my best players last night and I felt really bad. Now it makes me feel like I have to give him the ball a lot more times in a game just to help him rep up or stay at his current rep if we're gonna play rec center. Isaac Da Vinci says, if you have a 99 3-point shot, does no shot meter even do anything? And Mike Wang says, yes, it will help you at any rating if you time your shots well. So those of you guys who have really learned your jump shot, maybe turning off the shot meter might elevate you to a whole new level. And for those of you guys who love your shot but it's just not going in, maybe turn off the shot meter to see if that helps. We've all heard this, but we've just been nervous to try it because we just don't believe 2K's telling the truth. Another question from the community. Hey Mike, does Brick Wall drain energy like Bruiser used to, or does it only drain energy when you screen? And Mike says, yes, it does. And I'm guessing that's a yes to both questions since he didn't really answer that right. And yesterday, not wanting to feel left out, Zach Timmerman tweets, look for a solid buff to badge progression in the near future. Now this is a big deal because a lot of people in the community have been complaining that badge progression is way too slow. If they do buff it, and it's relatively quick, this could encourage more people to make more builds. And finally, a question from Mikey. He says, I was curious if another nerf to missed open layups will be released. I've seen about the same amount of misses from people who are absolutely wide open before and after the patch. Between you and me, I find that hard to believe, because all the clips that people send me, they're relatively contested and they're not slashers. Mike says, it's a dangerous problem to try and solve because it could lead to layups being unguardable. It happens when you release the layup from relatively far away. My advice is if you have an open lane, wait an extra step before going up to mitigate blowing bunnies. So basically he's saying get closer to the rim before you try to go up for a layup. For you non-slashers out there, you might end up doing an animation that looks like a reverse or some contact reverse layup, and you're gonna miss that. But he's also right, this is a very dangerous area because it could end up being like NBA Live was. And I for one want sharpshooters and play sharps to stay in their lane. I don't want to see them attacking the rim, getting contact layups on rim protectors. So at the end of the day, there's definitely a need for a fix, but maybe a slight fix, or maybe people need to change their archetype or really pay attention to who they're trying to make that layup on. So anyways, this is your boy Shake. Let me know in the comment section below if this information helped. As always, smack that like button to show your support, subscribe and turn on notifications for more news, and I'll see you in the next one.
It's cool.
Last night when I was playing rec, it seemed like my break starter didn't even make
good steal.
pass. I was missing some passes.
That's deep. Step in next time.
Oh, that's off. That's too deep.
Oh, I got Hall of Fame dying for nothing, bro.
Step in some.
Hey, it was too deep.
Come on.
Again?
Step in.
I got Hall of Fame rank to spinner. I could do this.
God damn. I got that steal for nothing.
I'm broke, nigga. I'm broke.
You could have just walked to the line.